I didn't. I saw the rundown. We start with San Francisco's absences. Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk are unhappy with their contracts, and John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are trying to make the best of it. Take a listen to the GM and the coach.
There's good communication. We're constantly working, throwing out ideas to try to have a breakthrough, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Is there good communication between you and Brandon?
Yeah, there's communication, and it's been ongoing.
We're getting close to playing a game, so my mind is completely on preparing for a game without those guys.
Oof. All right, Brew. Are you starting to worry about the 49ers Super Bowl hangover?
Brew's Niners.
Yes.
Really?
Now, I'm not calling it a Super Bowl hangover because I think if they're healthy and intact, they'll be fine. But will they be intact? Let's just address that first. And obviously, they're not right now. Now, I do think Brandon Ayuk will come back and play. They threw down the gauntlet, though, by announcing that he's been cleared to practice.
Yep.
So now when he doesn't practice, he might get fined. We'll see how that works out.
It was hinted at he was dealing with some back and...
Yeah,
initially, they were letting him off the hook with that, and now they made it clear.
They're like, yo, he can play.
That might flare up again.
Yeah.
Well,
their
doctors have cleared
him, so now, yeah.
I guess.
So that's kind of throwing down the gauntlet. And look, he doesn't have any leverage. If he wants to sit out, it will hurt them, no doubt. But he's going to lose out on his $14 million. He's not going to accrue another year toward free agency. I don't see the benefit of him sitting out, and I think that's what they feel. But what's his attitude going to be like? If he does come back and play, what's his attitude going to be like? He is Purdy's favorite receiver.
Yeah.
And I know they're all great, Kittle and Debo and all that, but Ayuk opens a lot of things up for them.
It's the vertical threat.
So that's her. But Trent Williams is even worse. And we used to joke about it last year. Their offensive line wasn't that good. And that was with Trent Williams, who's the best left tackle in the league.
That's correct.
Now, if he's not there, and that's a big if, but if he's not there, then the line is a problem. And, yeah, so you're the king of vibes. I know it, but the vibes aren't good. And then health-wise, McCaffrey's been healthy since he got there. And that was his problem in Carolina. He couldn't stay healthy. Is that going to continue? We know a lot of these guys, Debo, Kittle, they've been injured at times. So I obviously picked them to make the playoffs, and I still think they'll do that. I'm not that worried where I take them out the postseason, but the vibes right now and everything around this team is not good.
Yeah, aside from a devastating injury to a key player or a significant injury to your quarterback, it's hard to see how an offseason could be worse. The best player on their team, who when I did my own the week before vacation, top 10 players in the league, I had Trent Williams number 2. Mm-hmm. I think you can argue he's not only the best left tackle in football, you can argue he's the most valuable non-quarterback in the entire league. He's MIA with no obvious fix in store.
Right.
The article on Sports Illustrated yesterday was John Lynch being asked, has Trent Williams talked to you about potentially retiring? And John Lynch wouldn't give a yes or no answer to that. Now, I don't think he's going to, but I do know Trent Williams is the only active football player who's ever sat out a year on principle and has made $100 and some million, so he's accrued $4 million in fines and doesn't seem worried about it. That's concerning. Your best, and I would argue most important wide receiver with respect to Debo seems like more dug in than he was a week ago. Like, I don't understand the Ayuk situation at all, to be honest. I thought he was gone. Then it seemed like, okay, he's back and it's fine. And now it's going in the opposite direction.
That's a CD reaction?
Potentially, yes. I think the he sees CD gets paid, and he's like, well, hold on a second. The market was here for Justin Jefferson. Fine, I'm not Justin Jefferson, but why am I not CD Lamb? I think that, and again, like their numbers last year, Ayuk is coming off a monster year. And your quarterback had an offseason where his biggest supporter in the media gave him a D. A D for the offseason. That did happen.
But that's fine.
And
Bruce
says,
about D's and
I'm just letting you know that's what it's
I'm
what he
worried
gave
about
him.
Sundays.
So here is where I disagree with Brew about the leverage piece of it. I think Trent and Ayuk, even if they're not scouring spot rack for the Niners cap situation, I bet their agents are. Mm-hmm. And here's what they know. Next year, the following San Francisco 49ers make $20 million or more. Debo, Kittle, Trent Williams at 34, but it's not guaranteed. That's his complaint. Bosa, Hargrave, Warner. 6 guys that are on the books for more than $20 million. Trent is dug in because none of it's guaranteed. Ayuk understands, and Purdy's making $800,000.
Yeah.
And by the way, also Hufanga, unsigned. Travarius Ward, unsigned. Dre Greenlaw, unsigned. Ayuk, unsigned. 2 starting offensive linemen, unsigned. The Niners moment is right now, because next year a lot of changes have to come, even if they don't pay Purdy, which I think they will, but even if they don't. So Trent is saying, you need to guarantee me this money, because, or else I am the easiest person to move on from, even though you need me, because my money's not guaranteed. And Ayuk is saying, I have no reason to believe you're going to pay me.
Right. That's the thing. He's probably gone after this year.
Exactly right. And so I want to lock in money now. So that their leverage is the Niners probably should have already won a Super Bowl with this core.
Yeah.
And this core won't be this core again after this season. Right. At least, you know what I mean, in all likelihood. So that's the leverage, is pushing those things. And I think it's concerning for them.
All right, can I give you a glass half full?
Yeah.
Ayuk is not on the Steelers right now. He is in San Francisco. We did almost a full show because there were reports that there was just, crossing T's and dotting I's, and he was going to be on the Steelers after he spurned the Patriots. Who else was in it? The Browns dropped out.
Yeah, and by the way, down a lot of trades, at least whether they would have happened or not, but he didn't.
The Browns, I just want to put this out on the record.
Okay.
The Browns did a really weird thing today, which is just moved money around on Deshaun's deal to free up cap space right now, which does them no good at all. They can't use it right now. They'll just roll it over for next year. The only logical reason to do that specific thing is if you think it's possible you're going to need that cap space right now. The only reason they would need it is if they hit the Niners up again and be like, hey,
remember, we
want to be able to pull the trigger.
Give him Amari Cooper,
right,
and
you'd be good with it. So sorry to interrupt.
That's one. He's still there.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we thought it was worse. The CMC injury thing is largely like
precautionary.
Anxiety. Like he's due for an injury, this little calf thing. He's not really hurt.
I thought you were on Hobble Watch. Calves always work.
I am on Hobble Watch. And guess what? He's not on the cover. Oh, I got my editors looking every day. He is not on the cover. And 3, for all of our consternation, the odds haven't moved. It's still Chiefs 1, 49ers 2. So I don't know if they're not putting as much stock in Grant Cohn's breathlessly.
What do you mean?
Nick lives and dies.
Man, I got to tell you, Grant Cohn's practice report yesterday was a work of art. I mean, just 2 minutes of fire. It was so fire his face started bleeding. Just a work of art.
He's like, why am I bleeding? I am a fan.
He's great at it. He's great.
I am a fan. All right, moving on. Earlier this week, reports that Jamar Chase was going to practice. And then yesterday he didn't practice, and here's today's practice footage.
That's today?
That's in practice.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. He wears similar outfits. Yes, it's today, according to Dusty. Not necessarily going full speed there, let's say. Zach Taylor said, hey, sorry about the confusion. Take a listen.
Is it fair to say when you talked to us yesterday that it was your expectation that he would go the rest of the way?
I think I probably put my foot in my mouth speaking too quickly, and it's just, again, this is a day-to-day situation. We'll just keep seeing it as that.
Okay. Cincinnati famously has some slow starts last 3 years. They're 1-5 starting the first 2 weeks, and then they kind of turn it on. Is this a problem for Cincinnati?
I think the only way it's a problem for this year is if this drags far enough into the season where week 2 against Kansas City, which I think is their biggest game of the year, he's, not 100% or not there. So for this season, I think Cincinnati will be fine. I don't think Jamar Chase is going to sit out the year, and I think they'll be fine. I think it is a massive problem for Cincinnati institutionally and what it represents and what it signals. Remember how the Niners, I just said, they have 6 guys without their quarterback making any money, making $20+ million. Yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals are paying Joe Burrow next year more than $20 million, and nobody else. It's Chase, too, theoretically. They have the money.
Yep.
He was a top 10 pick. He's been in my opinion, a top 3 receiver throughout his career. In everyone's opinion, a top 5 receiver. What makes you good is your passing game. You didn't pay T. Higgins because you needed the money for him, but you're still owned by Mike Brown. And Mike Brown's going to do business, it would appear, unfortunately, the way he always has. And I think some of us, myself included, might have been tricked a bit by the fact that, oh, it'll be different now that you have Burrow. You'll be forced into
a classic too.
What do you mean?
Back from when Joe Burrow was being drafted.
Oh yeah, not mine, but yeah. How people were saying, yeah. I thought that Joe Burrow would drag this team into modern football as far as.
And it looked like that.
And it looked like it. And maybe they still will. But it's embarrassing to be in this spot because, Brew, there's only 2 possible outcomes here. One is you are planning on not retaining Jamar Chase, in which case you're lunatics. You're just poorly run. The other is, you know what you're doing? The Cowboys method, which is just wait, let the price go up, and then pay him. Right. That's bad business.
He'll make more next year.
He'll make more next year. And so I don't think this is – I'm very bullish on Cincy this season. But I am now skeptical on them longer term because it seems like they're just going to continue to be one of the thriftier organizations in the NFL.
Well, look, as you talk about Mike Brown, I honestly feel like if they were to win the Super Bowl this year, I think he might let guys walk. I think he'd be like
a Florida Marlins.
Yeah, look, we got our Super Bowl, we delivered it to Cincinnati. And we're keeping Burrow, but everybody else is gone. We're not spending money. I really could see that happening. I'm concerned for this year, too. Now, I picked them to make the playoffs. I had a little bit of hesitation because of things like this.
You still change it if you ever need to.
Yeah, but
not if he ever
my
needs to,
hometown
just till
team,
Friday.
so.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to keep them in there. But, look, the margin of error in the AFC North is tiny. And I know they've overcome slow starts the last few years. But they're going to lose some regulars, even if they're at full strength. They're going to lose some games in that division. Joe Burrow, you want to guess what his record is against the Browns?
Against the Browns? Is he 1-5?
You must have looked at. Did you look that up?
No,
okay.
I was gonna say
1-5 against the. You were gonna say 5-1. 1-5 against the Browns. Yeah. He's 1-4 against Lamar. He's 3-4 against Baltimore overall, but it only matters when Lamar's there. And he's 3-2 against the Steelers. And this is when your best quarterback is there. So I'm just saying the margin of error is so slim in that division. And I didn't pick them to make the playoffs, but I do think Pittsburgh and Cleveland are going to be tough and teams you just don't want to play. And so if this doesn't get rectified fairly soon, then I do think this could have some spillover effect into the season and maybe keep them out of the postseason.
2 types of news reports that I really like. Last year, was it 2 years ago, Stink came on and diagnosed the Rams' flawed offensive line and said, this won't work. And it was a little bit of a canary in a coal mine.
2 years ago. It was right after they won the Super Bowl.
Yep. And he's like, this is not going to work. So detailed flaws in the offensive line, that really makes a light bulb go off for me. The other one, vibes. Trey Wingo, I'm just being 100%. Trey Wingo, as someone I trust told me about things in Cincinnati this summer, the vibe isn't good. That, to me, is a bombshell. I know it feels like fuzzy reporting, and it's just a tweet from Trey, but if Kansas City, granted we were out there for the parade, the vibes in Kansas City are immaculate. I think in Baltimore, there's a new article today about Lamar's urgency and how it feels there.
Seems like the vibes with the Chargers are great.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's just not, it doesn't feel good here. And as silly as we kind of joke around about it, what doomed the Eagles besides bad defense and an injured Jalen Hurts? The vibe was just kind of off.
We felt that way